Hey, it's Emma, and this video is on types of networking. We'll look at two different behavioral types of network, client-server and peer-to-peer, and two types of physical networks, LANs and WANs. Well, let's start by vaguely defining two important terms we'll use throughout this topic. They're bad definitions because they rely on each other to exist. A server is there to provide a service to a client, and the client is there to request that service. Both terms are to do with the behavior of a device or application rather than its set function. In a client-server network, most computers are nominated as clients and a small amount as servers. A computer will either be a client or a server at one time. For example, a web server manages access to websites, and when you want to access a website, your web browser, acting as a client, requests the web page from the relevant server. The server then finds it and sends it back to the browser, which then formats it and sends it to the user. In this example, the client isn't a person or a computer, but rather the web browser. Alongside web servers, you also have specialized servers for files, emails, databases, and print servers which handle print requests. In a peer-to-peer network, there are no dedicated servers. All computers are equal, hence the word peers, and they can act as either a client or a server to request and send data. They send data amongst themselves without necessarily going through a dedicated server, and certainly not through any centralized device that has overall control. Okay, so what situation makes either one more suitable? Firstly, if security is important, then a client-server network is often more suitable, because the server can act as an administrator and enforce access rights to its data, ensuring that only the permitted clients can access the data. Peer-to-peer is easier to implement, however, and to a certain extent is self-maintaining. In contrast, client-server networks require some specialized IT knowledge to set up and maintain. They are reliant on the server continuing to function. Especially in a business environment, having a central server means you can have backups for all the clients in one place, instead of them doing it individually, where data is more prone to be lost. A final point that maybe isn't suitable for evaluation, but shows you understand some context, is that because peer-to-peer networks have this lack of responsibility or central control, often they've been used for unethical or illegal purposes, such as sharing of copyright material like music or movies. This property has led to peer-to-peer networks being discouraged by governments and watchdogs, but they're hard to regulate and it's difficult to pin responsibility on the actual offenders. Right, to finalise, let's quickly compare two types of network that are classified based on their physical size. A local area network is one where the computers are literally close by. There's no precise numerical definition, but usually a few buildings next to each other is about the upper limit of a LAN. A wide area network is one over a larger area. The internet is the best example of a WAN because it is truly global. The internet is a WAN comprised of millions of LANs. These two terms will crop up a lot in future videos. Okay, so let's briefly recap. A client-server network has many clients and at the very least one server which has a higher responsibility than the clients. In peer-to-peer, any computer can act as a client or a server, and they share their data between them. No computer is in control, like the servers in client-server networks. Finally, LAN stands for Local Area Network, and WAN, Wide Area Network. And both are related to the physical size of the network rather than how they behave, like client-server and peer-to-peer.